Oh my god, change my mind, part 2. Here we are, there's 57 comments to read. Cause I promised I'd read every single goddamn one. Here we are.
Okay, Play Pals.
Oh yeah. We should do a Play Pals. We should just steal that. Anyway.
Follow us on Twitch.
First from Lasher Luke, first comment. Well, congratulations for that first comment, but that is not attempting to change my mind. Therefore, I'm deleting it. Goodbye to your first comment. And it's gone. You think I'm fucking joking? It's dead. Refresh it, David. It's dead. I killed it.
Okay, let me refresh.
It's gone.
Fucking hell, he did. You mad lad. You mad lad.
I got the goddamn Infinity Gauntlet on.
You did it.
Can do whatever I want. You should do this for chapter reviews as well. No. as much of a great idea as that is. Oh yeah, go ahead, David, please.
So I kind of had this conversation with him in private. Like doing this for chapter reviews would be maddening because we already struggle to get things out on time as it is with our different time zones, our work schedules, and everything.
Full-time jobs between all of us. Trying to maintain a personal life. It's definitely. So, but appreciate the idea, of course.
Once we get to a point where we can go down to part-time, absolutely we could do this.
At some point, we will have a Patreon, but I'm waiting, but I have standards. I want to have our quality better before we do that. At some point when I feel we deserve it, we'll have a Patreon. And then, if we get enough from that Patreon where we can have either no jobs or part-time, then hopefully we can do more videos on the consistent, yada yada. Okay, finally, let's see. And then someone was just looking for recommendations for Slice of Life stuff, so we'll probably skip that one here.
Yeah, that one, you can reach out to us on Twitter and we'll recommend you whatever you kind of thing you want.
Right.
Like, that's not
Alexis Raymond. Also, My Hero Academia Culture Festival is my favorite arc. Boku no Hero Academia arcs tend to always have a fight, but great characterization for the story. I agree. I think My Hero Academia's core strength is actually its slice of life aspects and moments, and the characters in general. I think the arcs, ironically, that focus more on fighting are actually more boring. In fact, this current arc, well, it has major implications for the story, and it is basically like the Marine Ford for My Hero Academia. I find myself kind of bored. Besides the beautiful art, it's like a slideshow for the eyes, but it's definitely like without that character, it's really boring. Whereas what One Piece does so well is it takes the slice of life and the action and melds them perfectly, whereas in My Hero Academia, it feels very disjointed. It's like, okay, here's the slice of life, and now full action with no character shit at all. It's weird. So if you're gonna, I love action, but slice of life should be the foundation of it, which I think was one of the main points we made in that last video.
Yep.
So you want to read the next one from Lasher Luke here?
Lasher Luke, totally in the same boat, which is why I prefer Bakuman over Death Note, and Toradora is my second favorite anime. Monster is more of a character base, and Dr. Stone I love more for the journey and the characters. Yeah, I personally should probably read Dr. Stone because it seems more of that shonen-y style that I would actually like.
Stone. There's almost zero fights. It's like some of the best characters I've ever seen in manga. Just get 20 chapters in before you judge it.
Oh yeah, you did tell me the first arc was absolute garbage.
It's not, again, over-exaggerated. It's not absolute garbage. First arc is just kind of 5 out of 10, and then
it's 5 out of 10. So garbage.
No,
got it.
What do you consider average? 6.5 out of 10?
6.5 out of 10 is average.
Yeah, it's just kind of whatever. That I was meh on the first arc of
That's
Dr.
for
Stone.
Katana Maidens, for example.
He had to. That was an author I felt like he had to dial it in where he wanted to go with it, and then once he knew, it was pew, beautiful.
Yep, absolutely. And there are a lot of series like that actually. I feel that this is a video that Shonen Action Cards.
You should say who the comment is from every time you say it.
Yeah. Well, these are both Lasher Luke. Because, like I said, Monster was a series that changed the way I view series now. Speaking of that, I want to segue into the Twitter thing I was dealing with the orc because I got kind of shoehorned into that because he plugged our video in a Shonen Action Cards comments. For the anniversary of Dragon Ball Z, because they were claiming it was
Lasher Luke was trying to, because we were worried that our audience would be too cool and not disagree with us, and he was like, bruh, I'll put it.
I got you.
I'll put don't worry, bro. I'm gonna go send it to a bunch of shonen tards and like DBZ tards and power scalers.
So I'm just gonna quickly go through this. So the first one here is like, I actually got to pull up the beginning of it. So if you want to go to the actual next comment, while I pull
So
that up.
Steel Ram that says, so what happens if you don't get any criticism or disagreement? No part 2 at all? No, it just becomes a reading your comments video. So everyone that commented can come back here and be like, hey, that's me. Hey, look at that. We did it. Because everyone knows that it feels great to be shouted out by a YouTuber, no matter how small or big.
Yep, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Be I'm going to
like that old guy that like made like there was an old guy that like made like really wholesome like I don't know karaoke videos or something, and then like the internet took notice of him and he had like 100 subscribers, and then everyone was like, we love your stuff.
Yep. So like
so what you're about to read is the Twitter beef you got into?
The original person. Yep. That's not really beef. It's just like this video. This all comes down to our opinions versus the audience's. Our opinions versus the actual cringe people on Twitter. That's all this.
Right. So say it.
So Remy Senpai is like a lot of anime have a better story. Doesn't mean it make it better. Like, oh god, this is the worst take. The story carries the fucking show. The characters are useless.
Oh yeah, no. He literally said a lot of anime have a better story. It doesn't make it better. That was the word for word comment?
Yes.
Classic. Bro, just because the story's better doesn't mean the show's better. What?
Yeah, right. The characters become useless husks.
Like that, I feel like that kind of got... Because remember, David, this video isn't literally just... We're not here to read. There has to be substance behind it. So, like, I am going to make comments because that's the video. Yeah. That reminds me of like someone that would like Kinosema, or I'm just gonna say Demon Slayer, like because like Demon Slayer, from what I saw, had almost nothing that interested me story wise, but like it's pretty. Oh, it's pretty. And like that's what that guy's basically saying. Like, yeah, the story's not good, but it's better than other shows because it's pretty.
Yeah, reminder that this is all about the anniversary of Dragon Ball, and the original person was saying that this was the greatest fucking show ever created. Is it a cultural phenomenon? Absolutely. Not going to detract that. But it's not the greatest series on the fucking planet. And I'm just going like the characters are useless husks, because all it boils down to is pretty beam makes bang go boom.
Okay, so...
And it keeps going. If that's how you watch it, that's cool. It doesn't make you any less wrong. I'm like, oh my god, how idiotic are you action tards knowing nothing about but caveman instincts. Go try and watch something with nuance and actual plot, like Code Geass, Monster, Beastars, Breach by Family.
You're right, but you sounded hella elitist.
Oh, I'm not denying that I sounded elitist as fuck there.
Why are you booing me? I'm right.
Right.
May I move on to the next YouTube comment?
Yeah. Get back to me once you're able to digest series instead of something besides hyping beam struggles.
Nice. Mark Atienza Antiza. I'm bad at names. The best argument I have over slice of life is that I can enjoy slice of life by doing stuff in the real world. Shonen can put things out of the ordinary and show you things that you don't get to see every day. It's like, why should I watch someone cook when I can do it myself?
Can I just be real here?
Yeah.
Why is Kitchen Nightmare such a popular show if people don't like to watch people cook?
Oh, dip. So, fair take. Now, I'm a big fan of, like, adventure manga, right? So, like, Hunter x Hunter, Made in Abyss, One Piece.
Yes.
Like, I love experiencing things that I can't experience in real life. When we talk about slice of life, we don't just mean, like, well, here I am in a high school, and I'm just a normal person, and it's completely character-based. We're talking, like, things like Beastars. Like, Beastars, it's a very human drama, but with a big twist that does not make it, like, replicate things in real life at all. Like, there's just like any good story, there's things. Obviously, fiction replicates reality, and that's how you're able to relate to characters, because there's there's things that you recognize from your own life, but done in a different way.
Shit in there.
Yeah, so like with Beastars, for example, that's like a mostly slice of life series, but like it's anthropomorphic animals, and it's more like, instead of like a race struggle or a class struggle, like blacks versus whites or rich versus poor, the main struggle in that series is carnivores versus herbivores, and that shapes their whole society. So you have like very human drama, but it's different because it's fiction, right? So like, yeah, no, I'm not a huge fan of like slice of life, like quite literally just, I don't even know if a show like that exists, like a soap opera or a sitcom. Like, no, that's boring. I'm talking like
we're not watching Friends the anime.
No, that's 70s show. Which one is the clap clap clap? Is that Friends?
Shit, I don't.
So
even
no one told me. Okay. But like, have you ever seen Nietzsche Joe, David?
I did not.
Bruh. Okay, you know what? We should break the law soon and hang out during this pandemic.
I mean, it ends in like 10 days. We
If
can hold
this
out
is like
10
the
days.
third extension. Yo, you about to grab your fucking AK and go down to Gretchen Whippers? Just in case you haven't heard the global news, our state, we live in Michigan, and people are losing their fucking minds. Like people
The
are
Karens need to get their roots touched up, Brad.
Yup. I literally, someone had a fucking sign that was like, "I need to get a tattoo."
You don't need to get a tattoo.
I need it.
Dude, that's one of the first things I plan on doing once the fucking pandemic is over.
Ooh, do
But
you
I
have
don't
one
need
yet?
to get it today.
Wait. Will this be your first tattoo?
No, that's one of the. That would be my first tattoo.
Bruh, wait a minute, bruh. Hold on. Can I come with you?
Video.
Can I come with you?
Sure. Video.
Wait. Why with the question mark though? Why not like yes, my bro, absolutely.
And I just find it weird.
Can I tell you why I want to come with you? Because
What?
I'm hella YOLOing right now, and I kind of want a tattoo too.
Okay.
And like it'll help me bravery wise if I do it with a friend.
Okay, cool.
Do you realize the last thing I did before the fucking lockdown was drive Andy to get his tattoo?
Yeah, I know. And
Yeah.
then you got shooed out of there by a fucking screaming
'cause
needle,
it was
wasn't
rated-
it?
Yeah. But no, I got tattoo envy, bro. Like, no, it'd be small as fuck. It'd be like hella.
I'm getting the
minuscule.
mark of the outsider.
Remind me what that is.
It's a Dishonored reference.
Oh, okay. And this is so, bro. We have to have it. Yo, wait. I'm so like. All I'll say, I'll end off on this because we're still on a video. This is like gone into like personal talk time. But like that is something I so want to do, but I'm nervous about it. And I'm like, but I want to do it because YOLO. Like especially with the fucking goddamn apocalypse. Like screw it. I should just
Why not?
live my fucking life. Why not? Yeah.
Poke some ink into me.
Yeah. Definitely. Anyway, what was I saying? What brought that up again?
The
The experience things. And, yeah. So that's basically fair point, but like we're talking about slice of life that incorporates a hell of a lot
Other
of
stuff. Yeah.
specifically fictional situations, right? And that's also not to say that we're dissing on action. We're saying action series that incorporate a good chunk of slice of life are the best. Look at your Chainsaw Mans. They'll have about a chunk of chapters that are action, and then an equally sized chunk of chapters that are slice of life. And that makes the action more impactful because you are more related and connected to these characters. Even Dragon Ball had a bit of it, and in fact, I don't know actually what was filler and what wasn't, but like, it may have just been filler, but like, think like the episode like where they're learning to drive, like Piccolo and Goku, and like going to Kame House, like that is slice of life, and those elements are, so our main point was not to say all action is bad, it's to say, you shouldn't have a series like some Saturday morning cartoon shit where it's like all action and never slice it, like never just slows down to show them like living their lives. Yeah.
Absolutely. Father Universe.
With
romance.
a 1 instead of an I.
Yeah. Romance is greater than slice of life is greater than shonen is the one true answer.
Yeah, and which is why you should read Beastars, because it is romance and slice of life with a little bit of action. It's the perfect series.
Wolf fucks Bunny.
Mm-hmm. No, actually, it's funny that you say that because Wolf actually does not fuck Bunny. He's very virgin boy, and I love him.
I know.
Wolf,
Like that.
Wolf literally avoids fucking Bunny as best as he can.
But like that's literally the one take I've seen on Twitter as to why you have not watched the fucking show. Read
Yeah, if they
manga.
say that, bro, the people that are like, it's a furry trap, it's like you don't even know. Like they've
You
literally
don't
not
know.
fucked. Yeah.
I'm definitely not cosplaying Lewis at fucking Grand Rapids Comic Con, and Red's not cosplaying Lego Chanel.
Stick some fucking antlers on your head.
I will.
Good.
Zangetsu Black. My taste when it comes to manga and anime is a bit old-fashioned. Nothing like that
Hey,
feeling of
rate
adventure and
slower.
dodging fires.
People need to hear what you're saying.
And Zangetsu Black. Well, my taste when it comes to manga and anime is a bit old-fashioned. Nothing like that feeling of adventure and dodging fires.
Same. And then the
Yeah.
response to that from Zero Kura, seeing the growth of heroes or someone trying to overcome hardship is fun. Sometimes the real life kind of drama can get depressing once you see that in a soap opera or walking to the abusive family next door with popcorn. Yeah, so first of all, I mean, maybe this is just me. I love getting depressed in fiction. I don't know why. It just feels totally different. Like depression in fiction never feels the same as depression in real life, because with depression in real life, I get it and I keep thinking about it. Whereas depression in fiction, it's a quick hit of sadness and then like a burst of happiness at how good that shit was. You know what I mean? So I disagree with you on that. I like more dark shit. Of course, I like seeing heroes grow. Like that's why I love One Piece so much. This is a long-running thing. Seeing them grow is phenomenal. But again, I would argue seeing them grow is part of slice of life. Because here's the thing. My take on this is let's take One Piece and strip out all the moments where they're just chilling on the ship, all the moments in like Sky Island where they're on that like floaty cloud river and they're just like talking and messing around, like Luffy mimics, like he's like imitating Sanji and like doing impressions, all those funny moments. Strip all those out and just like edit together every action scene ever. Sure, you're gonna see them grow. You know, they're growing, they're getting more muscly, they're getting stronger. Is that as satisfying? No, it's not. Because it's not about the action. I mean, the action's there, but the action is a cherry on top to the characters and how they're growing as characters, which is slice of life.
Yep.
Okay, Lasher Luke, I'm calling out all those people who hated the current My Hero Academia anime arc for being a wind-down arc. Yeah, I mean, we are too, basically. I mean, that was my favorite arc of My Hero Academia. Some of that may be nostalgia, because that's the arc that they were in when I caught up with the manga. But Gentle Criminal, the school festival arc, like Horikoshi's strength is characters, and it's great because Steel Ram tagged me on this on Twitter. Did you see this? Horikoshi was giving his like advice to people entering like this story contest that Shonen was holding, and they, like all the authors got to give their advice. Did you see that at all, David?
I saw it. I hadn't read through all of it. No.
Well, it's funny because you can tell Oda is like jaded as fuck as like the veteran like grumpy old man author there, because Horikoshi's was like the most important thing is character. You know, some people can fall in love with a character from a single expression if it's done well enough, and just I hope to find some characters that I fall in love with from this contest. And so like first of all, that's really cool. It shows that Horikoshi, you know, like I suspected, he puts a lot of value on characters because he's very good at those slice of life moments. But and then Oda's comment, the One Piece author, he was just like, yeah, don't even bother unless you can come up with something new and unique. He didn't say that mean. He said something like, I think he said, I'd rather read a bad manga that's doing something new than read a good manga that's imitating something that's already been done.
I mean, I can get both aspects there. Like,
yeah.
There are a million fucking copies of everything out there. I mean, look at Hollywood, for example, right now. Like, we're at the point where we're just rebooting everything. Like, we don't care anymore. We will consume whatever as a society.
Well, but then again, I still think that, like, good stuff will come out once in a while. Like, you just have to look for it, yeah.
And you gotta dig a lot deeper. Like in the music industry, you gotta dig a little bit deeper. In the movie industry, like those fucking look at Parasite's success as like an indie movie versus like your Marvel movies that are just like, oh, let's combine a bunch of story arcs and make a movie. I mean,
there was at least a lot of good effort put into like the Marvel movies. Like,
I would
rather those be successful than like Skyscraper with The Rock. Like that is like your typical churn it out Hollywood movie.
I mean, that didn't do good either. So.
Exactly, which is what I'm saying. I think people are catching on to what like a shitty B movie is. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a sucker for like your B horror movies, so I can't say
movies, yes.
But like your B action movies, yeah, they get done over and over and over again. A lot of the fucking like DC movies fail because they try to do too much all at once. But yeah, the characters, if you can fall in love with the characters, that's a lot more meaningful. So absolutely.
I mean, look at Keep Your Hands Off of Ikozen. Like, did you ever watch that?
I did not.
Highly recommend if you need something to watch.
I have Isekai Quartet up here pinned on my fucking Chrome tabs because I have to finish watching that for a video.
Fair enough. Oh yeah, true. Look forward to that Isekai Quartet with Thurman and David if they ever film it.
That should be next week that we get that out.
But
when he's not in Indiana and surrounded by a bunch of people.
But anyway, Keep Your Hands Off Ikozen. The story is literally just 3 girls make a film club and they want to make an anime. And like going back to that person's argument, well, first of all, I could do that in real life. They would say, I would say, well, maybe. I mean, depending on your talent level. But even if you could do that in real life, it's the characters. They're like you see their dreams, why they have these dreams, their childhood leading up to those dreams, and you want to see those dreams fulfilled. It's just like the person that made the argument, I want to see them grow and overcome challenge. This can be done in both ways. Someone growing and overcoming challenge in a physical way, like a fight, or in more of a character way, like, no, I'm passing this test or getting this job I wanted. And fiction, the best kind of fiction, combines them both to create a scenario that's close to our lives that we can relate to, but different enough to be exciting because it's fiction, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's why I like a little bit of both in my series. Steel Ram. Well, I'm not gonna be able to comment anything meaningful. I'm not even 5 minutes in, and Red already said my exact stance on the matter.
5 minutes in, Red.
Yes, me and Steel Ram are actually twins.
Yep.
No.
I mean that.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
We're not.
I kind of got that. Tyler Pancake. Well done, David. Does not exist. Buchanan. Well, thank you. I know I don't exist.
Remember that joke. Why did we say you didn't exist?
I think it goes back to when I went on hiatus. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Lasher Luke, after becoming a writer myself, he's got a book. I don't know. I'm sure if you care enough, just ask him in the comments and he'll link you to it. Let's see here. I relate more to the struggles in Bakuman. Yeah, see, and that's a good point. Bakuman, if you don't know, is a series about a kid writing a manga, and it goes really deeply into like the manga industry and how that works, and it sets up a pretty clear goal where he's got a crush on a girl. She wants to be a voice actress. And he's like, bro, let me just... This is ultimate simp level, of which I love. Like, if you think about it, now that we know this simp word, I want to get in this girl's pants. How am I going to do it? Am I going to, A, ask her out, B, like take her to a nice restaurant, C, spend years writing a successful manga, and in the hopes that it gets an anime, and then offer her the main role as a voice actress. Da-ding! I love it.
Oh, thank you. I broke into the industry because of you.
I mean, that's really romantic, but also, like, that's pretty funny now that this whole simp thing. Like, have you heard, I haven't read any of Tower of God, but everyone is now, like, realizing that apparently the main character's a simp.
Or are we just literally using the word to be catchy on the internet?
Maybe,
but yeah,
this is Nux Taku, and as we all know, his word is law.
His word is law.
Apparently,
Lord,
like,
Nuxanor.
He's climbing the tower to simp, is what I understand.
Pretty much. But yeah, like, the word has lost a lot of its meaning because everybody throws it around.
For sure. Bakuman is good, though. Read it. Not Bakugan, to clarify. Bakuman.
Bakugan Brawl.
Yeah. Steel Ram, this basically boils down to everyone has their preferences. Some people like some genres more than others, and that's just life. I personally enjoy both action and slice of life, preferably when blended together. Agreed. I don't think I would enjoy a story as much as if it were purely one way or the other. Or in other words, if I like a 100% action or 100% slice of life series, then it means it's really damn good. Agreed, actually. That's a very good way to put it.
That's kind of like Chainsaw Man. Like, it blends it perfectly. And then you have your Toradoros, you have all your other shit that just does that one genre rather well.
Mm-hmm. Which is why, like, my point in the video was not to say that, like, I like 100% slice of life better than action, but I'm saying when they're blended, I would argue if you had to pick, okay, here's a Chainsaw Man, for example. You're looking at the action, you're looking at the slice of life. If I had to pick which one's more important to the overall story, I would say slice of life.
Steampunk here. Oh, well, let's go with Aspen Log here for the, like, filler comment here.
Neat TED
Talk.
Yes, thank you. My name's Red Alexander. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Uh-huh.
If anyone's got TED Talk connections, I actually want to give a TED Talk.
Steampunk. This was Eureka 7 and Orion High School Club for
I
names.
love Orion High School Host Club.
I love Eureka 7, so...
Bro, have you seen Orion High School Host Club, though?
I watched it once. I need to watch it again.
It's so good.
Bro. It was a 50-episode series I mainly got into with the character interaction. I knew how Eureka 7 ended, but I wanted to see how they got there, and I was pleasantly enjoyed by my binge of the series. Yeah, like, I went in there having known the ending as well, because it was a classic series by the time I went in there, and then seeing it all fulfilled, it was well worth the binge. And then we got One Smart kind of attacking me here. I feel
yes,
David
I'll read it, and then you respond. From One Smart here, I feel David isn't giving action enough credit. And by the way, One Smart, I agree with you. David went a little too far in an attempt. I don't know
My
if it's his real
God,
opinion.
you went full on elitist in this video. Shut the fuck up.
I feel David isn't giving action enough credit. He's acting as if character traits, story, and internal struggle disappear just because there's an external conflict expressed through amazing fights. David?
I don't hate action. I hate the action we have now.
Overuse.
Yeah. Right now, we're in this era of like every action series is overhyped to the nth degree.
I think Demon Slayer is a perfect example.
Yes, Demon Slayer had, I honestly believe, and this is another video that we'll be doing down the road, I honestly believe if it hadn't got the attention of influencers, if it hadn't got the attention of having this big studio, it would not have blown up to this level.
It was that fucking one fight that trended on Twitter.
Yeah, that one fight that trended on Twitter that Ninja's hyping. All these fucking internet influencers are here being like, oh my God, it's so good. The minute you have somebody that a massive group follow talking about something, of course it's going to blow up in popularity. Therefore, it's going to transition to sales of the manga, to overhyping. And now you're seeing the wind down for the series, and people are like, oh, this was just mid.
It's actually awful. I don't know if it's awful, but like
it's definitely more of a mid-tier manga, and I like that's going to be debated to high hell in the comments. I know, but
so to me, it's like not even like shitty animation. If you gave it like, let's say, I'm trying to think of like a really mid-tier, like not amazing animation, but not awful. Like I think, can you think of one like that? Like maybe like some like early Naruto. You know, like it had good animation, but it wasn't like godly, right?
Yeah,
either that or I think Assassin's Classroom fits into that as well. I never really thought one way or the other about Ass Class's animation. It was just okay. If it just had animation like that, not bad, but not smooth as butter. Oh my God, billionaires fucking funded this anime. I feel like it would have completely went under the radar, and no one would have noticed it.
Right.
In fact, if it didn't have that cool water CGI effect. Even I think that like people just like a new aesthetic look, and like that's fine, right? I think a fictional series is a sum of its parts. No one thing makes something amazing. It's a combination, right? So like I've always had these thoughts in my head, like okay, well, you know, this is just aesthetic, and I shouldn't pay attention to this as much because the characters and the substance is more important. But then I realized, no, I mean the aesthetic is important too, right? It really is everything coming together. So like when you get a series like Made in Abyss, for example, like Reg and Rico's relationship and connection mixed with the setting of the Abyss, mixed with the
Ghibli
darkness,
style art,
how dark it goes, mixed with his cool unique art. It's everything. It's a whole combination. And I think with Demon Slayer.
Just say Demon Slayer.
Yeah, I think with Demon Slayer, what happened was it just looked so pretty that people that aren't, I guess they're more new into anime, they don't really think
know
deeper
what
about it, and it does. There's no way to not sound elitist. And like, of course, the objectively correct version of my brain is gonna say, well, if they want to enjoy that, then good for them. They have every right to enjoy whatever they want to enjoy, and that's fine. But I will come out in here and be like, I mean, you are kind of like, here's like at that point, I feel like I'm eating a filet mignon, and like you're the dog next to me, like eating like ground beef that you found in the garbage, and you're like, this is the best meal I've ever had in my life. And I just feel bad for you.
Let's call what it is. The dog's down there eating fucking pate made out of horse meat.
and I just feel bad. I'm like, listen, I'm not trying to elite over here or anything, but like I'm offering you this delicious steak in the form of, take your pick, One Piece, Hunter x Hunter, you Code Geass, any of these amazing anime. I'm offering you this, and you're just like, no, this is my favorite.
Yeah. So here's my final say on this comment. Like, I love series like Fooly Cooly, which objectively is just batshit action. I have this nostalgic point in my heart for fucking Dragon Ball. I followed the manga. I love the anime. It's not the greatest series on the fucking planet, but I still love it because I have that connection to it. I love shit like Kill la Kill, which is very action oriented, but I don't love this current overhyped bullshit era of action that we live in. Not every action series is God's gift to mankind. One of my favorite series is currently ongoing right now is Attack on Titan, which, spoiler, is a fucking action series. So yeah, like I have those man instinct parts of my brain, as I call them, in that fucking Twitter war, where I like to watch pretty things go boom. I like Black Clover now that I've actually read the manga and didn't suffer through the nails on the chalkboard voice acting. Stuff like that I really do enjoy. But like once we got to this era of where I'm going to say it, Red, if you want to bleep me, every cunt with a goddamn following can just go out there and be like, this is the greatest thing, and then you watch sheeple. The sheeple just go out and be like, oh, Ninja Senpai said it's good. It must be good. I'm going to consume every bit of this known to mankind.
Also, like, when have you ever known me to bleep the word cunt?
I mean, down the road, maybe it'll be controversial.
Yeah, please. I've said way worse. Continue.
But like, the second people have gotten to this ending here, where we're right, like, I think like 1 or 2 chapters from the ending of the series itself, like they're like, fuck, this is garbage. This is not anything like the first bit of it, and it just proves that not every author that has a great beginning.
Huh.
Look to Promised Neverland, for example.
Honestly, that's the norm. Like most authors that have great beginnings, like it's much easier to start a story than end a story.
Yes, it very much is. Like Game of Thrones, fucking TV series. But like once you start it, like not everybody can write a great ending, and then when you have that much of a following based on simply popularity alone, you go down the path of like, God, I hate this.
Yeah, and then it's almost, and like I won't deny, I think one of the biggest reasons it's people that like it's like we're almost what's the word? I'm trying to figure out like psychologically dive into like why we're annoyed at them, and I guess it really is just like you just kind of feel like, you know, when you really like a series, you just want, and people are over there like, this is the best thing ever. It's like, oh, yeah, but have you even tried these other ones? But yeah, I guess to summarize though, One Smart, I you know, David does like action, and I think also I think David was probably exaggerating a little bit.
Like you.
What?
A lot like you in this video too. Like there was a lot more of us both trying to fish for comments here for this first one.
Yeah, well, because I was worried that it wasn't going to be controversial enough. I certainly hope it was your real opinion. I wouldn't want you to lie.
Like that's why I clarified it there. Like this current trend of action manga is what I'm really, really anti. Like I grew up on like fucking the original Dororo. I grew up on Dragon Ball. I grew up on like fucking Ninja Scroll. So action manga and anime are ingrained in who I am. So I've just grown past the needing to watch Pretty Beam meet Pretty Beam.
Yeah. And I guess my main problem is when the popularity of those series overshadows such masterfully written series. So like, for example, like Dragon Ball Super just kind of being popular because it's Dragon Ball. You know what I mean? And like, I've seen a lot of, I think things that like piss me off a lot is like Hungry Joker, for example, getting canceled when it was like a really thoughtful series that could have gone a lot of cool places. And then
Red Sprite was one that I really did love,
and like these
one
series,
I fucking hated that got canceled. You and I were talking about this.
Yep, I remember Red Sprite. That was about to be the fucking next Bleach, and
then Black Clover.
And I'm pretty sure I made a joke where I brought you a cherry Sprite, and I was like, "Hey, Red Sprite."
Yeah, I think it. Yeah, it was during one of the podcasts when we were getting ready to film it.
But yeah, I mean, like, look, I think Hungry Joker is a great example because you have that series, which I don't. It's been a while since I've read it, but like it was more like thoughtful and like a smart series over just action. If I'm remembering correctly, yeah.
Yeah.
So like that was written by the same guy who ended up writing Black Clover. So, and I'm pretty sure he's said in interviews, I think Thurman's told me about this, he had to come back and do a more simple series in order to not get canceled. And so the only time I ever get mad at people, like, you enjoy all you want, enjoy things all you want, but like when you are a little too meat-headed and just go like rah action and like nothing else, then we lose out on a lot of really cool series. You know what I mean? Like if the whole world thought like like DBZ tards, we wouldn't have ever gotten like Black Mirror, Breaking Bad. You know what I mean? Like these series that are mostly character focused, and
Yeah.
you may not think of those as slice of life, but like, it's not mainly action. There's action in it, but like you're gonna have an episode with 90% of the runtime being people talking, and when that is interesting, that is way harder to make interesting than a battle. Is people fucking talking. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Like Beastars again. It's my thing right now. That and Made in Abyss.
You got my ass into it. I'm about halfway done with the series now.
Yeah, and like most of those chapters are motherfuckers talking, and how interesting. Like the conversations are so well written. You're just like, oh yes. Like I
Right.
I don't even know how to phrase this, but there's a chapter where someone's asking Legoshi advice on how to date a herbivore, and he responds, it's all about philosophy. And I got up and cheered. I was like, you're Legoshi, because this whole time I've been like, I love his philosophy. Every time I talk about Legoshi as a character, I'm like, I love his philosophy, and I'm like, he's self-aware. He knows. He's like, and because that's me, bro. Like I literally like. Sometimes I worry I take myself too seriously, and I think that like I'm like the guy that's using big words, and people are like, look at this guy. But Legoshi's like so same, because like he literally told them like
one of my favorite moments here is like, can large breed carnivores fuck bunnies?
Yep. Wait till you get to the philosophy, and like the author was hyped to write that moment too, because it's like a full page of just Legoshi saying philosophy.
Yeah, and then it goes down to like, you say you're in love with that bunny, but you just aren't glorifying her.
No, are you sure you're not just glorifying her?
That kind of shit is why, and this is another controversial opinion, the one you and I both share, is that women write romance better than men.
No, if you don't believe that, then you're just wrong. Like, I'm sorry, and you know what that comes down to? No, obviously people are individuals, and like I think that one of the things that I never realized when I was discussing the concept of quote unquote toxic masculinity with like feminists, I always used to get insulted by it, because I assumed, now some shitty feminists may actually think this, but like the ones that I talked to didn't, but I always assumed that they were like saying, no, men by the nature of the fact that they are men are toxic. Whereas the way that most of my friends that talk about it mean it is, no, it's how society raises men. You know what I mean? It's not men's fault. You're not born toxic. You know what I mean? And it's this like, and I've learned it more and more as I work with like, because like my coworkers right now, a lot of them are like ex-prisoners. A lot of them come from like really bad parts of the like the street, and they're all very, very closed in emotionally. Like they won't show any emotion. They won't talk about anything other than like getting pussy, and you know what I mean? Like,
well, Red, as somebody who's had a little bit of that in their life, like once you've lived on the streets,
I'm not making fun of them at all.
No, I'm just explaining this to the audience here a little bit, and if they haven't had that kind of experience, like a lot of what you do to survive there is you shut every human aspect of yourself off and do whatever you can to make it another day.
And that's something I feel like probably affects men more than women, and that's not to say that, because women have their own struggles, very different and unique struggles. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But like men, their struggles are usually met with shut off your emotions. You know what I mean? Respond to things with either just ignoring it or like fisticuffs, right? So like that's one of the reasons I feel like typically women write romance better than men, is because a lot of men from a very young age are taught to shut off emotions, don't talk about how you feel. And
that gets escalated once you've lived on the streets, and it takes a very, very, very long time and a very, very close-knit group of people to actually turn that back off and show emotion and show humanity again.
You know how rarely I just see two guys talking about like how much they love their wife? It's always like, I'm gonna smash, or I'm gonna get laid, or you know what I mean? And that's why like a lot of times, like look at like for example like romance in Bleach, right? There's cute moments, but it's so simple. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
it's definitely just, like
it's a teenager's idea of romance. You know what I mean? And maybe he was writing it for that because it's aimed at a teenager, but like you know, it's very much just like shy moments, giggly, we kiss, you know, whereas like in Beastars and some of the romance in Katekyo Hitman Reborn, if I'm remembering correctly, which was also written by a woman, they go a lot deeper into like conflicting ideologies and ways of looking at life, how, you know, how we're going to raise the kids. And it's just like so much more real because I think that women just think about that more because of how they're raised to just like not push back their emotions, you know?
Okay. Anyway,
I don't remember how we got into that conversation.
It was One Smart's first comment. And then Fine is like, I won't.
Yeah, go
don't worry. Don't want to too lazy. That's okay. I mean, it works. You got featured.
Yeah, he's too smart, which is probably what he was doing there. He's too lazy to change our mind, but he's like, I still want that shout out. But also, one last thing I have to bring up. I've been looking through these comments, and I think it's the one with the most thumbs up is One Smart telling you that you're wrong. 5 thumbs up. The other ones are like 3, 2. That one, 5.
That's okay. Action series appear to grow faster in popularity. Meaning
One Smart, by the way.
Yep.
Stop rushing. This is gonna be like an hour and a half long video anyway. Just calm me down and read it, or I can read it if you're gonna fucking go. Blah, 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 blah.
Action series appear to grow faster in popularity, meaning more fans, which leads to a higher chance of toxic elements of humanity becoming more visible in the respective communities, but that's not bolstering or hindering their quality. Yes and no. When you get to the level of, like, say, the Steven Universe fandom or the Sonic fandom, that does really hinder a lot of the elements that come out of that, because that's when you have the reach of the author being like, stop.
Yeah. And I'm glad that, first of all, like, I will say, 40 minutes into this, I think this was a really good idea for a series, because we're having some of the deepest, most introspective conversations, not just introspective, all the spective, intro and outrospective. Very good conversations are coming from this. I'm enjoying it. Good idea, yep. David. There are your props. Congrats. Virtual head pat through the, yeah. You get a virtual head pat through the screen now. That was cute. Why are you so cute? Anyway, I'm glad he brought up the popularity equals toxicity, because I do think there's some truth to that. Like, just in general, the example I've always used is if, like, let's say 1 out of 10 people are psychopaths, and you get a fandom that's millions of people strong, you got quite a few psychopaths. You know what I mean? It's just a basic math. Like, there's weird ass people, and the bigger the fandom is, the more that group of weird ass people are going to be big, you know? So yeah.
Yeah, like the Undertale fandom, for example, is a very toxic cesspool as well.
And then the furries hopped in, and they wanted to loot all the monsters. You know how it goes.
Absolutely. And next one, controversial opinion. Has always been Bakuman is better than Death Note. You right?
No, I just well, part 1 Death Note, no. Part 2 Death Note, yes.
Yeah.
Luke, also David, I agree with you on Power Rangers. Power Rangers SPD had so much development and amazing characters that came together as a team, much better than a lot of shonen series.
SPD is a fucking gem. Go watch it. That's all I'm going to say there.
Special penis defense. What's it stand for?
Well, that is Space Patrol Delta. But yeah, that's one of the absolute. It's like Power Rangers Cops, essentially. It's fucking amazing. Anyway.
Now here's an interesting one from Steel Ram. I actually haven't read this one yet. Real sorry, but I don't really resonate with the emotional beats in Chainsaw Man like you did. Most of the big moments revolved around Makima and Rize, and since I didn't trust them for a second, I didn't buy any of their emotions. Makima is a complete mystery to me. Or a complete mystery, has a very real chance of ending up the final boss in my opinion, and has been shown to be very manipulative, so I'm taking everything nice she does with a massive grain of salt. As for Rize, if she was somewhat telling the truth while fooling Denji, in the end she died incredibly quickly, so shrug emoji. As for Denji, he has his moments, but I'm still not that invested into him. To put it into perspective, besides Aki, he's the member of the main cast I care the least about. Wow. And he's the main character. Seeing as we're 66 chapters deep, and the series could end up being a shorter one, I hope that changes fast. And the biggest problem I've had is investment. I'm putting this out here just to trigger David, but I care more about the kids in My Hero Academia than anyone in Chainsaw Man, except for Power, because she's the greatest character in all fiction.
He specifically singled me out. I feel so loved in this video.
Yeah. Well, because you're easier to trigger, I feel.
Not really.
I'm sorry, wait.
Like, there are ways to trigger me for sure, but like there are a couple of My Hero characters I do like. I'm not anti My Hero to the toxic levels I show on video. There are quite a few. I love Froppy. I love Todoroki. I love Momo, but like I don't give a fuck about the series itself. It's
but would you
moment...
agree that just to make some division between you and Steel Ram here? Would you say you like basically everyone in the main cast in Chainsaw Man better than anyone in My Hero Academia?
Yeah. Like Aki has this mystique about him that I absolutely love as like the mysterious swordsman here. I absolutely adore fucking Kishibe as a character. The more we get to know about Mr. Top of the Verse, he is awesome. Fucking Kwanji is like legitimately now one of the coolest fucking, I guess, anti-heroes in fiction.
I'm not
right
super
now.
invested in Kwanji.
Rize.
Yeah. Rize is amazing. I loved her.
And fucking, like, Rize, who cares? She's dead.
Well, no, I still like well, here, let just to, chime in here. I don't know. For me, the emotional beats in Chainsaw Man, like, I think of, like, the theater scene and, the kissing stuff. It doesn't really matter to me that Makima is evil because, like, evil people still have emotions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, there's a reason she's doing all this. And I don't believe that it's just completely to manipulate him. And if it is, then my interest switches over to, okay, why? What's your motivation here? Either way, I'm interested in her. I'm also interested in just Denji, growing and having that simplistic goal. And, I think his friendship with Power is really wholesome. I think the character development there is much better than like a lot of series I watch. Like I'll take Noragami for people really praise Noragami like it's amazing. It was a very average anime to me. I liked
the
Yato.
Anime is not as good as what they haven't adapted yet. I will definitely.
But first 2 seasons though, that's quite a bit of material. I did not care for any character except for the main 3. Yato, the kid that was his sword, and then the girl with the tail. Hiyori, or was it Hiyori? Was her name?
I believe so. Yeah.
Those 3 were great, and it was weird because they were great. It was weird.
How the fuck did you not like Bishamon?
What, the tiger lady?
Yes.
No, she was so boring to me.
Fuck you.
She had no character to me. I really just didn't like. I was so bored during the arc where they were like in her realm. That Yato carried that show for me, and then Yato's relationship with the kid when he was like acting up and like, I don't want to be your sword, and oh my god, I'm dead now, and I'm kind of realizing that and dealing with it. And anyway, point being, people give that. I think I would look at that as like an average anime, where like most of the minor characters are just very like barely developed, whereas in Chainsaw Man, like characters that show up a little bit, I feel I understand more than like most of the like Bishamon, for example, in that. Like I feel like I understand Knife Girl. I used to call her Badass Knife Girl. What is it? Kinem? You know her name.
Kobane?
Yeah, Kobane. Her, she shows up here and there, but like I could tell a story about her. Like, oh yeah, bro, like she probably like lives with her parents and she's supporting them and she had to get this job and she's really scared about it, and I can like visualize her like off panel like being terrified to go into work every day but knowing she has to do it to continue to get the money and the benefits, and
and not be a prostitute.
Yeah, it tells such a story. And like even fucking Puke Girl, man, like there was so much to her. Like point me.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
you're wrong,
definitely.
Steel Rams.
One smart again, Boruto anime is better than the manga.
Were you fucking trying to rush me along there, David? What the fuck?
We're approaching an
hour, and
we have a stream.
Do you want to short people
tomorrow.
Their responses?
I work tomorrow, and we still have a stream to fucking do.
we can do the stream like a different day if you want.
No, I'm doing it today. I've already put out the social blurb. I'm committed.
This is why we don't announce things.
But one smart, the Boruto anime is better than the manga. This is the one that took the most resolve for me not to respond to here.
Steel Ram responding, does it still matter? It doesn't matter. It's still a shitty series. Yes, because the only argument I'll accept is like, I'm not reading all these. It's too much.
The Boruto anime is on par.
Not
with
reading it all.
But here, that's like saying the Disney Star Wars sequels are good films because they have good special effects. Boruto is a cheap follow-up to Naruto with as much heart and soul put into it as those sequels.
Is that
the only? Yes.
Damn.
The only reason it exists is to keep banking on Naruto's fame. And since Naruto itself ended on such a catastrophic train wreck that is actively turning me into a hater of the series, I think you'll understand why I don't have a very high opinion on Boruto. It's as if HBO made season 9 of Game of Thrones centered around the kids of the original cast.
Damn. Steel Ram. Right. All right, I'm glad you started to read that. He's rocking it. Steel Ram ended this whole man's whole career.
But
we still love you, One Smart. Don't worry.
One Smart here with the fire back. Star Wars was always a money printer, but Lucas and Disney don't like dealing with more hateful elements of the fan base. I think you should give Boruto anime a chance.
Damn. Oh, and Steel Ram didn't even respond to that, bro. He shut him down. Goddamn.
Like, I love both of these arguments here. I absolutely do, because I'm a massive Star Wars fucking nerd. Okay? I consume everything Star Wars that ever exists. But
even the
one
shitty Han Solo movie.
I went and saw that day one in the theaters. Is Cowboy Bebop Star Wars. But no, like I love Star Wars. It's a very, very big part of who I am. It's something that I've always, every time a new movie would come out, my dad and I would go and see that day one. So that's one thing I've always done as a family here, and that's been since I was a fucking kid. And then I've went and read loads of the EU, and once fucking Disney bought it up, I'm like, oh god, this is the end times. And then they gut the EU, and they make their own canon, and then they fuck it all up.
This is a good video. There's a lot of topics being talked about. There's a lot of energy.
I still like the sequel trilogy. The Last Jedi was a pile of dog shit. Rise of Skywalker bastardized two very, very important EU plots. But it was still a good movie. It just doesn't feel like a good Star Wars movie to me. It was fan service trying to drag the fan base back in for what they're doing now. And if you don't know what they're doing now, go to their social media and just consume that, because it actually looks like they're trying to revitalize bits and pieces of the EU and make their canon more coherent. Because even from a Star Wars fan perspective, the EU was a fucking mess to navigate. You got this timeline and this timeline and this timeline. Fucking Lucas is like, is it good? Cool. I'll stamp my Nintendo seal of approval on it.
Lasher Luke, Bakuman, you could argue, is a battle manga given how the mangakas are always fighting each other for the top spot in the magazine. And I love the struggles and fights that they hoe. He just wrote H-O. I don't know what he meant to put there. That they hoe through. Oh, go. I see. That they hoe through. It's so good, guys, because they make you feel that this person is putting in everything just so they can not get defeated and canceled. Yeah, so, I mean, the point he's making there is battles can take many different forms, you know? Like, action is just one form of battle. You can have a rap battle. You can have a manga battle. You can have, a cock battle where you just sword fight your half-flaccid cocks. It's a thing. Look up Game Grumps Animated D Club. There's no dicks. It's just a Game Grumps joke. It's funny. You better know it. Some people will know it. It's so funny. But yeah. Good point there. So glad you brought up the tards. The tards of Shonen and the whole Junko thing. Thank you, Luke. Zekakura, all life is slice, but too much world dump can turn off people. But I take in both. Devil's Love Song is a nice slice of life. Fucking Kimi ni Todeke is so cute. Is the word fucking in the title? Or is that just you being excited? Anyway,
so cute, you'll get diabetic. Also read it's 174 we're on, and yeah, my friend who's not a furry liked the world of Beastars and their herbivore and carnivore live, but yeah, I like both the same.
Okay, I don't know really to respond to that. I just agree with what you said, and I'm interested in this fucking Kima no Todeke.
Oh yeah, to add to Beastars.
Still Zekakura.
Yeah, I'll change names if it's a different person. Okay.
Will you?
Beastars season covered up to chapter 74, which show clips from 48, 49, and 50. If I remember, I looked up 150 is the one at the end with the murdered alpaca boy. So if season 2 wrap up the killer from the first episode, then yeah, those numbers. Just want to comment, since I love Beastars, been following the read through on Haku of the Tubes, so he got me to read Beastars.
Okay. One smart. I have had some. Oh, let me try again. I have heard some reasonable criticism of the Gentle arc, as it can be seen a pretty rushed cooldown arc. Yet I do enjoy it. I don't think it's rushed. I had no problem with it. That could be
The way
because
they-
I read it weekly when it was coming out.
Yeah.
So,
There's definitely benefits to reading weekly versus binging, and there's definitely benefits to binging.
I mean,
Reading
in a way,
weekly.
that's the way the author intended it. You know what I mean? Because that's the way the author's experiencing the story. You know?
Yeah, there's definitely, but like some arcs, definitely you would rather binge. Like you don't want to read weekly a series that's going to 986 fucking chapters, especially when half of those chapters came out before you were fucking born.
No, I mean, if you're talking about One Piece, they were all after we were born. It's like 96 to now.
But you know what I mean. Like the majority of our fan base is
No,
like
JoJo.
the majority of our fan base is 18 to 24.
Nice.
Captain Crunch, Monster isn't Slice of Life.
I love
though.
your cereal, bro.
Diabetes. It's thriller mystery series. Slice of Life is good, but you can have all the elements of those you get in a shonen. Plus, action can't get you the Slice of Life. The payoff is much better. It's like the parts in Ass Class when things are just focused on character interaction, show their growth during the downtime, have very nice moments, but they have action on top of that.
Yes.
Makes part 4 so amazing because it has Slice of Life moments. That are
Double
very
yes.
fun. But the shonen elements and stands out on top of that take them to another level.
Exactly.
And then playing, betting with dice.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Bones. It was a funny interaction, but you can add an alien to that shit. And that can shift them into cheat, and sand battles make it much better. Attack on Titan is great, but seeing the characters sit down and have a meal is greatly amplified by the fact that we get all the gritty battles you can see them grow through. Makes you yearn for them to have some normalcy. Slice of life elements are already in shonen. Shonen can encompass much more than slice of life can. It's
So
more
this
the
guy
fact that
just, long story short, at exactly my opinions on it, basically. Like
Yeah.
they are perfect
And what
in
I've already
conjunction with
summarized.
each other.
and what I've already summarized in other comments, it's more the fact that Monster is less action oriented than traditional shonen. Is what I get what you mean. That was Lasher Luke's reply. Yes, absolutely. And this is why it's good to have mods on the channel.
Oh, One Smart's back, bro. I'll leave this one to you.
The disregard and utter disrespect for action is made in story. Telling hurts my heart, bones, and soul. Plus, The Dark Knight Rises is not just about action, so the thing with the coworker comes down to expectations. People hear the Joker, they expect Batman to challenge them physically, psychologically, and philosophically. No, just no. Okay, like I get as a comic fan, but not every Joker comic is Batman and the Joker. You have Joker and Harley Quinn interacting. You have Joker and the rest of the fucking criminal enterprises interacting. It doesn't have to come down to Joker and Batman. Batman punches Joker. Joker goes and
Yeah.
You can have a great Joker story and not have the fucking Batman in there.
And again, just to make sure, I don't know where David can clarify his position. I love action. My favorite kind of manga, this is why these are the ones I end up reading, is like a long running progression, like progression based shonen with heavy slice of life elements. That's my favorite shit. So like a lot of downtime for them to just chill and hang out, but like also like I want that hanging out to be them exploring new and cool either concepts or like literal lands, like adventuring,
So, Red, to just lay my grounds for more action-oriented series here on the channel, I love Fooly Cooly. I love Attack on Titan. I have that special place for Dragon Ball Z, like I've said. I absolutely still will always say that Dragon Ball, the traditional old-school Dragon Ball, was the better series. And then Dragon Ball Z is where, like, they wrote it week to week. And this is confirmed that, like, it was basically villain to villain. We did not like how it ended with Frieza. Write another villain. We don't like the androids. Write another villain. Like, that's very well documented. So it's why there's such shit pacing there. Like, you have so many natural stop points for the series, but I still love it. I absolutely adore Gundam. Like, the entirety of the Gundam franchise is one of those action, more space operas that I love and have always loved. Bleach is one of those as well that we very clearly have had at-length conversations in the Old School podcast about Bleach and how that was one of the things that got us to be friends was the ending of Bleach.
Yes.
So it's not that I am anti-action. But yeah, Deus Ex Mangaka. My answer is going to be long. Sorry about that again. I have several points.
Wait, if it's long, can I read it so you don't fucking...
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Jesus.
So I don't rhyme it. Yeah, it's long. It's a long one.
Alright, here we go. Let me just take a nice breath. Okay. Number 1. This is Deus Ex Mangaka. There is a great difference in popularity between the two genres. Shonen wear their strength on their forehead for all to see. If you catch an out-of-context anime clip on Facebook or Twitter, it's going to work better if it's an action piece because the instant appeal of superficiality. Shonen have superficial qualities that make them catchy and memorable. Not really a flaw. As a lover of animation, I love watching how animators bring movement, weight, and tension to... I agree, by the way. I love looking at animation and seeing all that kind of stuff. It's just cool, and that's what animation is about. The problem emerges when you disregard internal qualities because of that superficiality. Bro, this guy's rocking it. Absolutely, you're 100% right. The appeal of shonen makes them popular, and with it... I'm so bad at reading things. and with it comes the problematic crowd, superficial people, blind haters, SJWs. Yep. He's actually breaking down pretty well why those kind of things get the shitty fandoms.
Yep.
Popularity also brings money, and with it, financial influence. Making a story go on forever, making it safe and marketable, appealing to the masses, reworking your story around fan theories. Success is a blessing and a poison, and shonen is more easily subjected to that success. Number 2.
Can I just weigh in there on number 1?
Oh yeah, go ahead. I think you're fucking spot on. Like that's one of the best interpretations I've ever seen.
So, like, look to the cultural phenomenon of shonen. Look to what sells well, why we get so much merch around so many series, and how you can have. I'm so glad I don't have the little fan group of people that at my current job that follow here. I have this one guy whose basic wardrobe consists. He's one of my ambassadors. His entire wardrobe is literally Dragon Ball tees.
Hey man, I ain't gonna diss.
I'm not dissing, but like that is the success. That is a level of success you get very easily when you are that what I call and what a lot of people here on the channel hate me calling the shut your brain off action shonen. You can get that level of success where like, oh, look it, Goku fights the villain of the week. It's another battle with Frieza for the 9 millionth time, and oh my god.
Yeah, I think I've seen people explain it as like, you know, and there's two types of people out there, right? There's people that want to be in their safe bubble and never be challenged, and then there's people that kind of want to be challenged, right? And I find obviously, yeah, that's not too fair because a lot of people are a mixture of the both, and there's just different levels of it.
There is definitely
whereas in some places in my life, I want to be challenged, and in some places I like my little routine, right? But like I'm happy and lucky that I have broken out of wanting to be in a routine when it comes to my fiction. Because yeah, sure, I want to be in a routine when it comes to maybe my job or like, you know, what I'm eating every day, and like it's very easy to fall into a pattern. That's just how the human brain works. But typically, you like with some people, your brain can kind of trick you into wanting that like familiarity, the comfort of a routine, and something like a long-running series will give that to you. Specifically, but here's the thing: one of the reasons I like One Piece though is because it does switch. Yes, there's formulaicness to it, but like every island is different, and there's things being switched up. Whereas I felt like Dragon Ball really was just the same shit week to week. Like I don't know how many times you can make beams and punches. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I mean, it goes through the roller coaster of fucking escalation, whereas most series go through peaks and valleys of escalation, de-escalation. Dragon Ball's like, oh shit. Where do we go? Where do we go from here?
Now we can blow up a mountain. Now we can blow up an island. Now we can blow up a
fucking stadium that was supposed to be indestructible. But yeah, so like that's a level of success you get with shonen, and mostly exclusively shonen. You see that Dragon Ball, My Hero Academia, you see Bleach, you see all of these series that are more action shonen oriented reach these levels of like, oh my god, there's merch everywhere. You see a billion fucking figures of Goku and Gohan and Piccolo. You see Naruto merch everywhere. You see My Hero Academia bootleg stickers on Wish.com because who the fuck wants to pay for the art? I mean, it's literally just stolen off of like fucking other shit on Etsy. That's what Wish.com is.
By the
It's,
way, I would pay for the art. I don't know what David's going
I,
on.
but I'm making fun of Wish is
Okay.
what I'm doing there.
Gotcha.
But yeah, absolutely, that's the level you get with that kind of shit, and you're slowly seeing more of the thought-provoking series like Ancient Mage's Bride. You're seeing JoJo. You're seeing a lot of these other shows that have a deeper, more philosophical stand in life.
Or at the
But
very least, if you're going to be action, not just punches and lasers. Like JoJo, sometimes it does feel like you have to have a goddamn PhD to understand the battles.
yeah, literally.
Yo,
Uh,
you've read
but
part
you
6
see
of
those
JoJo,
starting to
right?
break out into like the popularity and the yes,
Bro, like the universe goddamn resets. Anyway, go ahead.
yeah. So you're starting to see the popularity of those rise, and when people are like, "Okay, I've consumed all the Dragon Ball, I've consumed all the Naruto. I'm not a big fan of Boruto. What can I watch that's kind of still in that line?" You see the JoJo fandom start to blow up. You see a lot of these other like niche shows being like, "This is actually cute and thought provoking. I like it." And then you see a resurgence in stuff like Cowboy Bebop because it's nostalgia.
Yeah.
So there's obviously like that level of success you have to reach to get marketable.
Well, you know what
And
it
it
is
does.
too. I think that there like I think that there's almost a natural progression when you're
Jesus
an anime.
Christ, an hour and 20 minutes.
Oh, it's gonna trust me. Well, the actual recording is an hour and 6 minutes. But there's this natural progression of being an anime fan when you're gonna start with the simple shit and you're gonna keep escalating. Like, oh, I want to try something new. I want to try something new, right? So like with me, it was like Dragon Ball to Bleach to Death Note to you know what I mean. Like that'll happen. And with those people, like I get it. Like you're gonna start with something simple. It's the people that like willingly choose to stick with like, nope, I just want something like Dragon Ball for the rest. Always nothing more complex than Dragon Ball for me. Like that's like ugh. Like, can you imagine not wanting to try new things? Like I can't even like. It's the same people that like. To me, it's the same mentality of people that won't try new foods that are like picky eaters. Like
I mean,
imagine
I tend to be picky to some degree.
But here's the difference, right? If you try it once and you don't like it, fine. But like
Exactly.
I don't understand any rationale of not trying it at least once.
like when I travel,
Yeah.
for example, like I go by the Rooster Teeth method of like if I'm going to travel, I'm going to try new things. If I
Yeah.
don't like it, fuck it. I got to experience this culture. I got to experience all this shit. I'm not going to fucking bat. I'm not going to bring back Corona. But yeah, like that's the fucking.
Can't tell if racist.
Fuck you. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Yeah,
not going
obviously.
to. I'm not going to try
Nothing
something that's-
ridiculous. Like I wouldn't eat that fucking thing that's like a duck embryo and an egg still.
Right. I'm not going to eat the black eggs where it's like
Yeah.
fucking rancid smelling and disgusting. I'm not going to try
If
anything
it looks edible, I'll try it.
right.
Anyway,
it's-
in order to
right.
try to move this along, let me move on to part 2 of his
Yeah.
fucking long comment. So this is still Deus Ex Mangaka here. Shonen and slice of life structures are nothing
oh,
alike.
thank Christ, we're near the end.
What?
We're near the end.
Shonen stories are extremely formulated because they often talk about the same themes: determination, perseverance, self-betterment, the journey to adulthood, universal themes. I need to take an allergy pill, by the way, because I am. You're probably noticing me sniffling. I am itching like crazy. But I gotta make it through. Okay. Perseverance, self-betterment, journey to adulthood. Universal themes that will live on forever because everyone can relate to them. Most shonen authors are themselves shonen fans. The codes of shonen are recognizable but also flexible. You can insert them into any kind of setting, universe, martial arts, pirates, ninjas, allowing for the creation of both fantastical and realistic worlds. A great occasion for creativity. Okay. You can... Oh, it's so fucking long. You can create and exploit...
Motherfucker wrote an essay.
It's good, though. You can create and exploit any kind of external conflict to drive the plot forward. That's true. In Slice of Life, external conflict is no more than a tool to get characters to meet and interact with one another. That means, unlike Shonen, which can lean on its own formula, Slice of Life live and die by the quality of the writing. You are 100% right! Characterization... Man, this guy... Fuck. Like, wow. You're really good at wording things. So I just want to make a point on that point, too. He's right there, because, like... Shonen, you can kind of have some mediocre shonen still work because like the formula is really all you need, and like as long as like you like Kinosumi, Demon Slayer is a good example Whereas like they hooked them people in with the fighting style at the very least, or the animation, or like the appearance or the aesthetic, and then all he needed to do was just follow that formula. Enemies to fight, go 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 until the end, you know. Whereas Slice of Life, it really like if Beastars wasn't written amazingly, it wouldn't have been successful.
Right. Like that is literally 1000% correct, and that's why I'm glad you actually drug my ass into Beastars, because I kept thinking, oh, just that fucking furry manga, just that fucking furry anime. I don't care. I'm not a fucking furry. Here I am being a fucking deer.
And I appreciate you. You have no idea how much I appreciate you for being willing to try. Like it just like sit down like, okay, I'll watch this on Netflix. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, thank you for trying, because there's plenty of people that would just not try and be like, no, I know best. I'm not even gonna try it.
Right. I'm willing to try anything. Really. Like that is something that I absolutely have always tried to be, this open person to be like, oh, this person recommends this. If I keep getting recommended it, that's why we started covering Spy X Family, because we got recommended to high hell on our comments. Like, you will absolutely love this. You will absolutely love this. Here we are covering it as a fucking series on the channel because so many people recommended it. If there is something that you want us to cover, drive it home. Drag our asses across the fucking coals to get us to cover it.
Yeah, just to finish, characterization and character development is more important than anything else because it's the focus of the story. This leads to the Slice of Life being more thoughtful, rich, and unpredictable. Offering great narratives that don't get old as you grow up, unlike shonen tropes. Exactly, which is why I will always have a soft spot for shonen tropes. But like when you enrich the shonen tropes with the unpredictability and the great character writing of Slice of Life, that's like perfection right there to me.
Right.
Yeah. Then part 3 of his comment. Oh, we're getting there. Shonen and Slice of Life are becoming more and more alike. With time passing and more stuff being produced, people have caught on to the fact that stories need to constantly improve, and so different genres will exchange ideas. I respect Dragon Ball for its accomplishments, but I could not read it again because it feels old. Each arc is driven by external conflict. Agreed. Man, this guy is right on with our opinion here. Has the same structure, ends with a time skip because the narrator isn't interested in the characters' lives. Yep. Today, that's no good. Shonen can't just rely on that formula. That's why modern shonens include slice of life elements in their story. People know the drill. They need to get invested in the characters in order to have an interest. I lost my place. Interest towards external conflict, because without good characters, it's just another shonen. And the opposite is true. Slice of life authors know that without any superficiality, the strength of their writing will stay hidden to most people. So they create inventive settings and add external conflict that can be integral to the intrinsic narrative. The big words on this man. And event that can help to pace and organize the story. Beastars shows a furry world full of sex, violence, whereas Spy X Family has a cool spy setting and great action. A lot of people notice these stories because of it. Those are my thoughts. I could not resume them in short answer because they are vast and vague classifications. My brain is turning off. And each story will vary.
Perfect for Cards Against Humanity.
Well, you know what's funny? Like, I'm curious if you're the same way as me. I can read something in my head really good and fast, but like something about reading it while saying it out loud, I just get so flustered. Yeah, like
That's
whenever
why
I had to read out loud in school,
in class.
Bad, you know? True actors in the end of the results. Yeah, I mean, basically spot on. Like, in fact, I'm pinning that comment right now.
Yep. Well, there's no need. There's no need to keep my comment pinned now that we've already summarized all the comments as well. So.
Okay, anime problem. I think
First off, I'm going to read the 2 replies here. Okay. I hope this don't sound like those annoying fans. It's just I enjoy the manga. Beastars so much. So same furry, sex and violence seems very. Sorry, not good at spell, but it's more on the society.
He clearly wasn't dissing it though. I had an initial reaction to that as well when I was reading it just now, but then like he ended it off by talking about like how good it is. So yeah.
Yep. And carnivores on how they live together and view the others. Also, Wolf Boy is a good boy. The later arcs, we get into the hybrids and more thinking about society as well.
True.
Plus, the bunny Haru explains that if she slept around, because she was being viewed as a woman, that's just a small, poor, weak creature that must be protected, but no violence. So it's is right, since a lot of other cases on carnivore eating herbivores, plus carnivores have to watch their strength. But I just want to point out that it's not just sex and violence.
Yeah.
Furry stuff.
And who said that?
Zero Kura.
Yeah,
it's a lot, especially in the black market, since that's where a lot of the illegal stuff happens. P.S. I like your points. Deus Ex Mangaka here. Thanks. I want to point out that furry plus sex plus violence is not the focus is just the superficial aspects of the narrative, and it's
Yep.
only integral to the story.
I
It
didn't
also
think he
brings,
was shitting on it.
yep, it also brings a lot of the identity and catchiness to it. Without it, it might have gone under the collective radar. Also, I agree, Wolf Boy is a very good boy.
Yeah. Best. Okay. Anime problem. I think this needs a caveat. Specifically slice of life that actually examines a character on a deeper level and makes how they deal with their problems entertaining, because I've watched a series where I knew less about a character in the finale than I did in their introduction, and they couldn't be fucked to find any solutions to any of their
Was that
problems,
Evangelion, good sir?
making it the least relaxing experience I've ever. That's really funny. Yeah, I mean, of course, there's shitty slice of life. Just like there's good and there's shitty.
It's not really slice of life. It's just like psychological fucking horror. I actually watched it.
Yeah.
I love Evangelion, by the way, but my God, you know less in the end than you do in the fucking beginning.
So funny. You want to read this next one from Luke here?
Red, I think you hit the nail on the head with the build-up, particularly in Dr. Stone right now, going around the world and gather the stuff for the massive project. When we to the end, it's going to be impactful because it's going to feel.
I fucking love build-up. Like, if you can keep a series going for a relatively long time and keep it interesting, like, I'm just One Piece is at the point now where it's so long and I've spent so much time with these characters. Just merely, it doesn't even have to be a sad ending. Just the fact that it's ending, I will cry.
Right.
Like, I'm probably gonna take like a week off of work, honestly. Like the week it's gonna end.
I want to take a week off of work because a fucking manga is in it.
You don't understand. One Piece is different, bro. One Piece hits different. You don't understand.
One Piece is no, my guy.
Does.
This is America. You gotta produce. You gotta consume. You gotta fucking fight that.
Bro, you wanna know what I'm consuming? That last chapter of One Piece. And I'm paying $1.99 a month for Viz to do that.
I'm just fucking with you.
No, honestly, we talked about this. I don't know if we're gonna go through with it, but like we were thinking, both Thurman and I would take the week of the last One Piece chapter off, and I would probably like fly down to where he lives, and we would record like a final review in person. Like we'd go sit on like a California beach together, sip some fucking like non-alcoholic well, for me it'd be non-alcoholic, and then we'd just sit there on the beach reviewing the last chapter.
It must be alcohol if it's the last chapter.
Fine. But point is, I fly down to California, we go sit on a California beach, we wait for the sunset, and then we film the last review of One Piece on this
and it
channel.
ends with you two fucking.
Not really. I don't find him attractive. We've been over this. There are guys that I do find semi-attractive, and he's not one of them.
No,
I love him. He's a great guy.
David Tennant or bust for you.
He's got a fucking. David Tennant's merely one of like, I don't know, 3. They have to be skinny or femme or both. They have to be Nagisa from Assassination Classroom. I love my boy, my femme boy. Let's see here.
Party jams.
Party jams. I love. Oh God, it's long. Ah, that's on you.
Yeah.
I read the last long one.
Before I get started on this comment, I want to acknowledge a few things. First, people can have preferences, which can and do change with time. I happen to grow up with shonen, and most of my top anime are filled with traditional and modern shonen. They're the very few pure slice of life, pure equal story about characters' day life in our everyday world. Second, this argument will be tough based on how things are defined, so I will admit parts of what I may say will be refutable based on how you life either.
The second to last comment, David. We can do this.
Third, I agree that characters are central to any good story. This is something that I was taught back in high school, and it changed my perspective on writing. Character growth should drive a story. Character perspective anchors it. Character relations dynamics build and expand it, and the character cast fuels the emotions. Finally, most of my argument will rely on the shonen formula in order to keep this generalizable. Oh boy, let's start with this. The shonen formula allows for more reliability. If you go into traditional shonen, you know there are certain things you can expect: fighting, power system,
True.
rival, escalation, training arcs, etc.
Right.
I think of shonen as a hamburger of anime and manga. You know the main ingredients, and if you like them,
We got some good ass talkers in our fucking
Right.
comments. My God.
And if you like it, then it helps you get some assurance going into a slice of life, especially pure slice of life doesn't have this assurance. Every story will be different. While not being restricted by a formula, it has its advantages. Its disadvantages is you don't know if it'll meet your expectations. These stories are much more reliant on their comedy, writing style, narrative, and which are very much subjective. Recently, a friend of mine who enjoys slice of life more than shonen recommended some shows for me, but they were very hit or miss because of the difference in our taste. I can't argue with that. That is very, very true. Slice of life is very much more subjective than shonen. You can go right into shonen. Meanwhile, I can recommend about any shonen to a friend as long as they know, like shonen, my favorite slice of life animes, i.e. Hyoka, have characters and struggles I can relate to. My least favorite is Haruhi. Have so little story or direction. I cannot care anything about what's going on. When I was a teenager, that's what turned me off from slice of life anime. Is I had no assurance that the story had an actual plot or if the characters were just average.
May I jump in there real quick? So like, Deus Ex Mangaka was kind of talking about this. Like, one of the best things that slice of life manga is doing these days is kind of like giving you like a hook gimmick and then running with the slice of life. So like Spy X Family, for example, it's not just a normal family with a cute girl and a dog, right? That's not it. They give you such a good gimmick where it's like, but it's not like a gimmick that it's not like they rely on it. Like the characters are still well written, but it's like something.
Yeah,
unique,
he gets
right?
into Spy X Family.
So in Spy X Family, it's like okay, you know, the dad is a spy and he's got to infiltrate like the government of this country. The wife is an assassin, but they don't know that because it's like a fake family they're setting up. And then the best one, the one that really hooked me, the daughter's a goddamn telepath and can read people's minds. So she knows, she's this like mastermind. She's like 4 years old and she knows everything that's going on. But she's not going to tell anyone because she doesn't want it to fall apart. So like that, just as a premise, is genius and it gets you hooked. Like you were talking about in your comment, so some of these slice of life, you're just not hooked. And I imagine it's because it didn't have any good initial setup like that.
Right. So next point is the shonen formula can be expanded to make things even more interesting. Both slice of life and shonen have their own foundations, but the way shonen does it can make it really fascinating. You mentioned the most fighting scenes are very brain dead, but it doesn't have to be JoJo's. I didn't even go into JoJo because that is one that
trust me, we just mentioned this earlier in the video. So you need a PhD to watch JoJo. It's confirmed.
Yeah, it uses sand power to put a lot of strategy in their fight. Also shonen as natural fantastic elements to it. Do a lot of world building like One Piece. I'm not the biggest One Piece fan.
Love me some One Piece. The world building is godly in One Piece. Like in fact, there's some great arguments to be had. I think it was on Twitter where like One Piece characters are relatively simplistic, and I agree with that. They are.
Their characters are very.
That's not to say they're not entertaining though. They're entertaining in the same way that like a cartoon's characters are, right? Absolutely. Like a 90s cartoon. They are pretty.
I'd say even more like Looney Tunes-esque at times too.
Yeah. Like they all have their trope, but you got to at least admit they mesh off of each other so well.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, they're not like super deep or anything, but like I feel like that's made up for with Oda's greatest strength, which is 100% his world building. It is on another level.
Yep. Even newer series like Black Clover, My Hero Academia, they're somewhat traditional or building up a world and history to it. This expansion to the story allows for level of engagement that slice of life doesn't always have. Finally, shonen anime can stand easier on its own. I've used the phrase pure slice of life. The reason I did that is because I realized at some point there was a commonality in slice of life anime I really liked that were hybrid genres. Yoika is a slice of life mystery series. Sergeant Frog is sci-fi slice of life comedy. Devil's Workers slice of life fantasy series. School Life is slice of life horror, etc. I'll use Spy X Family since you guys brought it up. Yes, the series is indeed slice of life. I think if it was just about an unlikely family coming together, it wouldn't be as enjoyable.
100%. Just said that before we even got to there in the comment.
So, one of my favorite chapters was chapter 20 when the Handler and Twilight talked about they were done with war. In fact, the simple story is talking about historical fiction that is taking place in a historical fiction world where psychics exist is what helps it stand out. Slice of life works best when mixed with another genre to fill in the gaps. The reason most people watch anime is because we want stories more than just everyday life.
Agreed.
Portrayed in classic literature, ones that are exhilarating, outlandish, maybe a bit quirky. Shonen is an easier time doing this with its formula, with slice of life crossing over genres. TLDR, which is why I should have fucking read to begin with.
Hold on, wait. And like what he said about shonen doing that easier than slice of life, it correlates well with Deus Ex Mangaka's point of that means fucking God, my brain is leaking out of my mind right now.
My brain is leaking out of my mind.
Yeah, shut up! It correlates well with what Deus Ex Mangaka said earlier about how slice of life stories have to try harder. Like they have to have better writing to survive. Because, it's like, anyway, go
TLDR, Shonen is inherently more interesting in slice of life, thanks to an established formula. It helps anime fans who have a standard of expectations compared to slice of life extremes. Subjectively, slice of life works best when mixed with other interesting genres. Because while slice of life has important elements needed for a story foundation, Shonen can engage individuals more by expanding on elements inherent to the genre itself.
So I would be curious to our comments here. What do you consider Assassination Classroom? Is that a slice of life or is that a shonen? Because there's really not that much fighting. Like,
right.
I was actually surprised at how little action there. Like, and the action's so simple. It's like almost parody series simple. Like, it's really just he's fast and he does a thing fast. You know, like there's really no choreography whatsoever. And that I would argue that is like a 95% slice of life series with like action elements that occasionally pop up. Yeah.
So the final comment, Lasher Luke. Just want to say,
beginning and the end, Lasher Luke.
He is inevitable.
Yo, I need a meme with Luke's face and on Thanos, like controlled chaos looking in the comments, and we just see I am inevitable.
I love that you read the comments, unlike some YouTubers who refuse to read them out if you're being spoiled. Personally, I think it's worth taking the risk to understand what your audience thinks of you and how you can correct things. Plus, being spoiled is not the worst
So
in the world, and if anything, sometimes spoilers can help you love a series even more.
Sorry, you cut off. I thought you were done. So my take on reading the comments.
For example, he's been spoiled about Gon losing his power.
You still going?
Yeah, he's been spoiled about Gon losing his power, but he's more interested in the build-up to that moment than anything.
Bro, that was awful. You kept cutting off on my ends. I kept thinking you were done.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. Yeah, no, I mean, like, ever since the beginning, it almost started, honestly, responding to every comment, which is something I still try to do. I mean, maybe not every single one, but I would wager to say that we respond to like 90% of the comments.
The Hisoka video ruined the streak.
Yeah, I mean, not even just, like, I would argue, like, if you were somehow able to get a list of every single comment on our channel, or like stats on it, I'm pretty sure 90% plus I've responded to, and I'm pretty proud of that. And the reason I do that is because it started off as, when our channel was growing, I was like desperate for it to grow, and I was like, well, I know I would be coming back if they constantly responded to me. So it started off as that, and there's still an element of that where I'm like, well, you know, I'm pretty confident in our reviews, but there's nothing special visually going on, and there's not a lot, you know what I mean? Like, we just don't have the time to, like, do extra fancy, crazy stuff. So at the very least, can we have, like, a really closely knit community here? And it also spawns from the fact that, like, who the fuck doesn't want to have a YouTuber respond to them? I've always wanted that, and it feels good when they do, and I want to give that feeling to you guys. So, yeah, thank you, Luke, and thank you all. That was actually...
Let's end it!
David, I got to give you massive props. That was a good idea for a video, because that was very fun, actually. Like, we had a lot of really good conversations there. Like, that was actually really one of the funnest videos we've done, and some of the best conversations we've had.
Absolutely. Like, I'm glad I kind of stole this idea from 3 different fucking YouTubers at this point.
Lawsuit.
Yeah. Instead of copyright strike, let's do a lawsuit outro.
Copyright strike. Well, look forward to the next episode of this at some point, which will most likely be why Dr. Stone is better than Promised Neverland.
All right, that's all you guys. Until next time, everybody. Peace. We got a stream to do.